It started with a video that shocked South Korea to its core, a shaky aerial recording uploaded to a hidden online forum, showing a quiet village turning into a nightmare. From above, a drone hovered as chaos unfolded below. People were screaming, running for their lives. Within minutes, a dozen were dead. The killer wasn't seen, but his voice was. He spoke calmly in the footage, narrating every move like a director controlling his own horror film. He called himself the Cleanser. What followed was one of the most chilling criminal hunts in modern Korean history, a story of obsession, revenge, and technology turned into a weapon of terror. The beginning of an obsession. The man who would become known as the Korean drone killer wasn't always a murderer. Years before the massacre, he was a gifted engineer named Han Jae-min. Born in Busan, he was quiet, brilliant, and socially isolated. From a young age, Han was fascinated with machines. He built drones before they became common, learning how to modify flight controls and cameras. To him, machines were predictable, unlike people. He graduated top of his class, but struggled to fit in anywhere. Colleagues found him strange, intense, and detached. He often talked about how humans were corrupted by emotion, and that one day machines would judge mankind more fairly. When his startup failed after investors pulled out, he blamed society. His resentment began to grow. Han moved to a small apartment in Seoul, where he isolated himself completely. Neighbors said they rarely saw him. But from behind those closed doors, he began building something that would later horrify the nation, a fleet of weaponized drones. The drone experiments. Han's obsession turned into creation. At first, he used drones for photography, but soon he began modifying them. He attached thermal cameras, GPS trackers, and mechanical grips. Then, he tested explosive payloads using small homemade devices. Learned from online chemistry forums. He filmed every test, analyzing each explosion with cold precision. He wasn't just building drones, he was building soldiers, machines that could kill without remorse. Over time, Han created an interconnected swarm, a system where one drone acted as the leader, directing others automatically. He programmed them to identify faces, track movement, and even follow vehicles. But what made Han truly dangerous wasn't just his engineering skill, it was his mind. He saw himself as an avenger for those cheated by the world. His online posts grew darker. On obscure forums, he wrote about cleaning corruption, reclaiming balance, and using technology to punish humanity. Most people dismissed his words as empty rants. Nobody realized they were warnings. The first attack. In early 2022, Han carried out his first test attack. A rural warehouse on the outskirts of Gyeonggi province exploded late at night. Locals reported hearing buzzing noises moments before the blast. The explosion killed 2 people, former business associates who had once accused Han of fraud. At first, police ruled it an industrial accident, but Han wasn't satisfied. In his private video logs, later recovered from his apartment, he described the attack in eerie detail. Phase 1 is complete, he said calmly into the camera. The world doesn't understand yet. They will soon. For months, he vanished. Police never connected the dots. But Han was planning something much larger, a public demonstration that would turn his ideology into infamy. The Village Massacre. On a humid summer evening, in 2023, the residents of a quiet town near Daegu were preparing for a local festival. Children played in the park, lanterns hung from rooftops, and the scent of grilled food filled the air. Nobody noticed the faint buzzing above them. At exactly 7:42 p.m., multiple drones descended from the sky, flying in perfect formation. Each carried small explosive devices rigged to detonate on impact. Within seconds, the first blast hit the main street. People screamed and ran, but the drones were relentless. They targeted crowds, vehicles, even the town's power lines. Hidden far away, Han was controlling the operation through a custom-built remote hub. He wasn't on the scene, but his machines were. The most horrifying detail, he filmed the entire massacre using one drone equipped with a high-resolution camera. He narrated it live, describing each target as impurities being erased. When emergency services arrived, the drones had already vanished into the night sky. 12 were dead, more than 30 injured. It was the first mass drone attack in Korean history, and it was just the beginning. The video that broke the internet days after the massacre, a video appeared on an encrypted Korean message board. It showed the entire attack from a drone's perspective. The footage was cinematic, terrifyingly deliberate. At one point, Han's distorted voice could be heard saying, "You don't deserve mercy, machines see truth." Authorities were horrified. The video spread like wildfire before being taken down, but not before millions had seen it. Han instantly became the most wanted man in the country. The media dubbed him the drone killer, while others, disturbingly, began calling him a technological revolutionary. The government set up a special task force. Every drone manufacturer was ordered to report missing or stolen equipment, but Han had gone completely off-grid. His equipment was custom-built, his identity hidden behind layers of encryption. For months, the nation lived in fear. Every buzzing sound in the sky sent people running. The psychological profile. Forensic psychologists studying the case described Han as a cold technocrat who viewed violence as logic, not emotion. He believed humans were flawed systems that needed resetting. In his notes, later found on encrypted drives, he wrote, "Humans destroy without purpose. I destroy to restore balance." His intelligence made him unpredictable. Unlike traditional killers, Han didn't crave recognition or chaos, he craved control. He used technology as a weapon of morality, turning machines into his own form of justice. Investigators concluded that he saw himself not as a murderer, but as a mechanic fixing a broken world. That made him far more dangerous, because in his mind, every life he took was just another calculation. The national panic. After the first attack, South Korea entered a state of high alert. Authorities grounded commercial drones, restricted airspace, and installed jamming systems around public events. But the fear didn't fade. Reports flooded in from across the country, people spotting drones hovering near schools, factories, and government buildings. Most were false alarms, but one wasn't. In late 2023, a drone was spotted near a Seoul government facility, carrying what appeared to be an explosive. It detonated mid-air before reaching the building. No one was hurt, but the message was clear. Han was still out there, watching. The attack forced the government to create new anti-drone units, equipped with electromagnetic pulse, EMP rifles, and radar systems. But Han stayed one step ahead. He modified his drones to evade detection, using materials that absorbed radar waves. He had turned his crimes into an arms race. The failed capture. In January 2024, investigators received their first real lead. A stolen delivery truck, later found abandoned, contained drone parts identical to those used in Han's attacks. Fingerprints confirmed his identity. Police traced the truck's path to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Busan. A special operations unit raided the location at dawn. Inside, they found dozens of drones in various stages of assembly, maps marked with red circles, and video equipment. But Han was gone, escaped just hours before. Security footage from a nearby road showed him calmly driving away on a motorcycle. He looked directly into the camera and smiled. On the seat behind him was a small black box later identified as a mobile drone controller. Within minutes of the raid, 2 drones appeared over the police vehicles and self-destructed, destroying evidence. It was as if he had planned the entire encounter to prove he was always in control. The second massacre months later, Han resurfaced with an even deadlier plan. On the anniversary of the Daegu attack, drones appeared again, this time over an industrial port. But instead of explosives, they released a toxic chemical mist. Dozens of workers collapsed before realizing what was happening. Han filmed it again, calling it the cleansing of greed. By now, the drone killer had become more than a criminal. He was a phantom. His voice, calm and analytical, echoed in every new video. He taunted police with riddles, saying they could never catch him, because you can't arrest an idea. The country was paralyzed with fear. Markets closed early, airports tightened drone checks, and entire neighborhoods installed anti-drone nets. Parents forbade children from playing outside. Han had achieved what he wanted most, not just destruction, but control over a nation's psyche. The global manhunt international agencies joined the hunt. Traces of Han's communications were found bouncing between servers in Japan, Malaysia, and Russia. He had built a digital maze that made him nearly untraceable. Interpol labeled him one of the world's most dangerous fugitives, but every time they got close, Han disappeared again. Some investigators believed he wasn't alone anymore, that sympathizers were helping him. Online forums praised him as a symbol of rebellion against corruption. It was horrifying proof that his ideology had spread. In one chilling incident, a copycat group attempted to recreate his attacks using homemade drones. They failed, but it showed how deep his influence had sunk. Han had gone from a lone engineer to a myth half man, half ghost in the machine. The final disappearance. In mid-2024, authorities received a signal from one of Han's drones off the coast of Jeju Island. Military patrols searched the area for days and found wreckage of a small boat, burned beyond recognition. Among the debris was a melted controller believed to belong to Han. The government announced that the drone killer was presumed dead, but there was no body, no confirmation, just silence. Then, 3 weeks later, another encrypted video surfaced online. It showed a new location, a drone flying over an unknown desert. Han's voice was calm as ever. "You cannot stop evolution," he said. "I'm just ahead of you." After that, nothing. The video stopped. The sightings ended, but no one truly believed he was gone. The story of the Korean drone killer is more than just a crime, it's a warning. It shows what happens when brilliance turns to hatred, when a mind built for innovation becomes consumed by revenge. Han Jae-min didn't just build machines, he built monsters that obeyed his will without question. And though he vanished, his voice still lingers in every hum above the city, in every camera watching from the sky. Because maybe, just maybe, he's still out there, watching,